Okay, this is Moshe coming to you from Israel in the Galilee on Wednesday, October 2nd, 9:34 in the morning. We're getting better weather now, 73 now, high of 84. Tomorrow high of 99, 89. Then we got Saturday 91, still within tolerance. Sunday 90, then down to 87, 86, 84, 82, 81. Okay. Looks like we're out of the horrible oppressive heat. When it hits 90, you gotta run the air conditioning at least in the middle of the afternoon for a few hours and keep the house cooled off and so forth. Update on Beulah. She went to the vet, and the vet was gonna remove the tooth she broke, and she broke other teeth in the back of her mouth we didn't know about. So I have an axe to grind with Hezbollah because they were doing these missile and rocket attacks, and we had all the takedowns. And Beulah was spooked, and she probably tried to rip the chain link fence out to escape, because that's how dogs get when they're scared, just want to run and escape. And that's where it came from. So I have an axe to grind with them. Just kidding around, but they're they're not much of anything left. Okay. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go through what happened last night. I'm going to give you what the rumors are saying, what Iran's saying, what really happened. Okay. I was sitting outside when it went down, and I'll tell you what it was like, and then I'm going to tell you what America is saying, which is rather surprising, and what I believe is going to come next with a reasonable idea of when, and um, we'll put Bible prophecy in with this, okay? Now, if you're going with the conventional church party line, I want to pose a few questions to you. Where is the man of sin that's going to speak peace to Israel and get a 7-year covenant? Gee, I don't see anything like that. Do you think you've got time for anything like that to evolve? No, you don't. This is going to happen in days, okay? And then in Ezekiel 38, Israel's living without bars and walls, without fear, at peace and rest when it happens. And they have great riches, cattle, gold, and silver. Guys, that is so far from the case now. And you think that's going to change in 3 or 4 days or a week or something? As they say, what Tony Soprano, forget about it. It ain't happening. They're giving you phony baloney's stories. One of the big guys who is an S-bot, and probably I have issues with the clothes this one wears, does a lot of, mostly all this person does is put up the pictures of where all the planes are moving around the world, and then hypothesize and speculates with decent accuracy what is happening. But you never really know, and it's all vague. Like you see C-17s going to Ishkabibble land. Well, you don't know what's on the C-17s. Is it food? Is it soldiers? Is it uniforms? What is it? You don't know. See, is it missiles? You don't know. So a lot of what these people do is highly, highly speculative. Okay. How many times in the last months have we heard the doomsday plane has taken off from D.C.? Like what? 100 times in the last 2 years or something? Come on. Nuclear bombers flying over America, B-52s flying over America. Why are they flying B-52s over America? You think that's a tactical strategy? They're attacking. What are they going to attack their own country? What are their practice runs. It plays well to the people. that think they want to be prepared, and this is going to help them, which it's not. But this particular critter, um, and it's not the prepper guy, okay? This particular critter now started talking. I was shocked. Zechariah 12 with Psalm 83. And this person knows about as much about the Bible as I would know how to do brain surgery, okay? And you see, the SBOT false teachers and all of them are going forth, and it's slowly but steadily switching their position on Ezekiel 38, 39 as what's happening. Now, they don't study the Bible, and they can't study the Bible. These characters don't have the Holy Spirit. And they're running around switching to Zechariah 12, which is your work by supporting me, because I've been yelling this out for years, as a lot of you know. And that's truly what's happened. So they're not talking about Zechariah 12:6, where the two witnesses burn the enemies up on the right hand and the left. But, people are going to read Zechariah 12, and they're going to realize it. Even that Salas guy who sells books about blood moons. The blood moon is a one-off event that happens once in history. He sells books and talks about how there's been 60 or 80 or 50 or whatever blood moons in the past, and they call the harvest moons, which is like a amber oat wheat color, a blood moon, and people buy books about this and go to conferences, and even this character is bringing in Zechariah 12 now, and others, and it's growing. But they're avoiding Jeremiah 30:11, which says that Jehovah is going to destroy all the nations that he banned or captivitied or diasporaed the Israelites to over many, many centuries. Okay. See, Jehovah hasn't gone out and openly, it's called breaking covert. Oh, in the King James, we would say breaking cover. Hasn't gone out and broke cover and showed that he's God and he still reigns in a long time. The closest we could come to that is the days of Yeshua, and it definitely happened in those days, with the healings, the miracles, rising from the dead. But only the believers really saw him rise from the dead, some of them, okay? And the dead rising up from the graves in Jerusalem, showing themselves to many. So that would be about the last time we saw Jehovah working openly, breaking cover. And the people today don't think they see it. The SBOTs in Israel, running Israel, and the bad shepherds in Ezekiel 34, well, that's of course one they're not teaching, which is the religious, it's the fat cattle in there, is the wealthy billionaires, millionaires that are SBOTs, and the government and all that. Do they think that God is going to protect and defend Israel and leave them in control? And that is farcical nonsense, but that's what they believe. So they're all gung-ho, pro-Israel. You see it on CBN or TBN or all that stuff, Hey, we're for Israel, this and that. Well, they think they're going to be running a very big, powerful country, and they're so deluded, but you can't talk to them, they won't believe you. As long as the unclean spirits are in them and come talk to them, and they get rich, and the believers don't, and stuff like that, they're never going to believe it. Okay? No man could come to the Father except through the Son. And no man comes to the Son, Yeshua, unless Jehovah leads them. And he ain't leading them. Obviously, that could change, of course. He's Jehovah, I'm not. But what they think they're going to inherit is not what they're going to get. They're going. Okay. So you have to be aware of what I just told you. That's why you're going to see them gung-ho Israel, okay? Not that they want God to run the earth through Israel serving him. That's the last thing they want. They want to be controlling Israel while Israel's a great power and great wealth and riches, and they'll still oppress the believers tremendously. Okay? All right. So let me jump into the live stream and do a couple of things like make sure we have sound and picture, put 2 quick posts up there, and then we'll move along. Sound and picture. Okay, I got sound and picture. Now, you won't know the day or the hour actually pertains to the appearing of the sign of the Son of Man, which the church doesn't teach. They just teach there's a return. It's not true. All right, I'm going to give you a lot of details. There's so much false information running around. Remember, I've lived here for many years, and I was sitting outside going through this last night. I'll tell you what happened. Whoops, sorry, Chief. Let me get my posts up, okay? It's going to go fast, okay? And a lot of people like to leave when I do that, and that's fine. Let them leave. Almost done. I'm just putting my email address up. If anybody wants to email in a prayer request or a toss request or question, etc., you could also put such things up in the chat. And I do check the chat during the broadcast, but some people prefer to do it more privately, so they email. Well, we had a few people leave. That's fine. They're leaving where they would get a lot of intel if they listened to me, but they prefer to listen to people that are 3, 4, 5, 6,000 miles away telling them what happened. These people don't understand Israel. They don't understand what happened. Well, we lost a bunch of people. That's pretty typical. All right. Being an Old and New Testament believing saith, I'm going to do some praise now. There is no God like Jehovah. 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 There is no Messiah like Yeshua. 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 Okay, so what happened? It was about 190 missiles that came in last night. We were told it was 3 waves, but it actually was 2. Were these guided missiles? In other words, were the Iranians able to control the path of the missile in flight, change the altitude? Missiles go like this, right? The trajectory of them? No. These were not guided missiles. Okay? They were not. Were they ballistic missiles? Well, this is the bottom line on were they ballistic missiles. One school of thought, which could be true, is they sent a good volley of ballistic missiles first that got here first, and then they sent hypersonic. They sent a bunch of hypersonic missiles first that came first, and then, I don't know what it was, 20, 30 minutes away, or 15 to 30 minutes away, a second volley came in. So it could have been that the second volley was launched at about the same time, but they were not hypersonic. Now, let me explain to you what happened, contrary to what you're reading. Iran said 80 or 90% of these missiles hit the target. Well, listen to me. Iran and their proxies lie all the time. Move, Chief! What do you stay there for? I have seen them talk about destroying the Haifa port. The Houthis, the Hezbollah, even Hamas in the old days when they had capability, so many times, and it never happened. Israel is a small country. Haifa reminds me of San Francisco, or it could be Europe too, where you go up on hills that are, I don't know, 1,500 feet up, maybe something like that, maybe 2,500 or something. And you look down over the water and you see the port. Everybody would see it. There would be pictures of it. It'd be all over the place. Everybody would tell everybody. It's not been hit. Okay? When you listen to them, they've destroyed it 11 times over. Okay? So Iran said they hit 3 military bases. They were going into civilian areas, the liars. Okay? I was hearing the takedowns a lot last night. Tons of them. I was outside. I don't go in the bomb shelter. I was outside. And I was hearing them do the takedowns. Now, if they were hypersonic missiles, the theory is that they go at least 4,500 miles an hour. Russia says they got some that go 7,000, 8,000 miles an hour. At 4,500 to 5,000 miles an hour, the theory is when the radar acquires the projectile, the bogey, coming in, and they get a lock on it, by the time they accomplish the launch, they need a new lock because it's moving so fast, so they can't acquire it. So if our Iron Dome, we weren't using, as far as I know, Arrow 2 with David Sling. If our Iron Dome could take the missiles down last night and they were hypersonic, it means we could take hypersonic missiles down. Could that be the truth? Maybe, because the flight time for the first volley from Iran was rather abbreviated. So yeah, it could have been. So we can take hypersonic down. So maybe the hypersonic ain't so hypersonic. Maybe they go, 2,800 miles an hour. I don't know. But do I think they were hypersonic? No. Did Iran say they were hypersonic? Yes. Does Iran lie through their teeth? Absolutely. Okay? Absolutely. They said they damaged airfields. Let me tell you what happened. Israel moved the planes around. Remember, you heard stories, Israel jets in Cyprus. There probably were a bunch in Cyprus. We have underground airport hangars for the military. So there's a ramp, a runway, and it connects to a ramp, and the ramp goes down underground, and there's a heavily fortified, cover over that underground bunker. And you would need, probably, minimum volleys of 5,000 pound warheads as a bare minimum. And that's too big of a warhead to push on a missile. So we just parked them underground, and a lot of them, we just put them in the air during the attack. That's it. We didn't lose a single plane. Now, there was one air base where they said they hit, and there were missiles exploding on the sides of the air base, hundreds of meters away, or they were hitting open fields and stuff like that. Could they have possibly hit a runway or something? Yeah. They could have hit a runway. Sure. So what? We had runways hit in the past, and the next morning the planes are at night, and the next morning the planes are using them. It takes a few hours, that's all. Bulldozers and other equipment come and clear the area. The debris gone. They put filler in the hole, right? Then they pound the filler down and put more filler in it, and then they lay concrete or blacktop or both or whatever they're doing over it, and that's it. You let the concrete set and you're back in business. It's not a big deal. It takes a few hours. Okay? Did they hit Mossad headquarters? Well, I doubt it. The buildings were evacuated anyway, so the bases were evacuated, so if they did hit it, was just the building. If you think the Mossad doesn't have redundancy on their computers and stuff, you're wrong. I do not think the Mossad headquarters was hit, and I don't think anything other than a couple of craters on runways, and I don't even think we had that. Really, I don't. But that would have been about it. And we were told right after the attack that our bases are fully operational. So I don't believe that they even did that. Okay, so these were not highly accurate, not guided missiles. What they were was long-range terrorist weapons. Okay? That's it. Did they scare a bunch of Israelis? They did. Did Israelis go into the bomb shelters? They did. For a long time? No. Did anybody get injured? Yes. There was either 2 or 3 people that were what we term, translated into English, lightly injured. And what that normally means is they called for an ambulance. The ambulance came, looked at the wound, cleaned it, dressed it, and they probably never went to the hospital. It's possible that the paramedics may have taken them to the hospital and they were treated in the ER and then sent home. But it wasn't much of anything. They were Israelis, so I think it was 2. Now, was there anybody killed? Yes, there was. Now, I'm going to tell you what happened with the person that got killed, but I suggest you be seated and, hold on, because it's rather shocking. There was an Arab Muslim that lives in Gaza. And for some reason, unbeknownst to me, he happened to be in Jericho last night. And the Iron Dome did a takedown of a missile from Iran. And a big, 6 or 8 foot piece of the missile, the body of the missile, came down from the sky and landed right on the guy and killed him. So the only person they killed last night was a Muslim. Now, there was a lot of missiles flying over Jerusalem last night, and last time I checked, Jerusalem has no military base. So they're lying. There's videos of it. And the Iron Dome was taking them down. Now, on this channel, we've talked extensively about these morons taking out the Dome of the Rock and the Al-Aqsa Mosque with their missiles. And it might have happened last night if the Iron Dome didn't take them down. So we were actually defending the Dome of the Rock and the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is crazy. But when the missile is headed towards the Dome of the Rock and the Al-Aqsa Mosque, we basically need to take it down because it could shift a few yards over and hit what they call the Wailing Wall. It could hit other parts of Jerusalem where Jews live, so they take it down. So one West Bank Arab Muslim got killed last night. Let's give Iran an attaboy. What a bunch of geniuses they are, okay? Now, was it a scary thing? It was. I mean, it wasn't pleasant sitting outside. I wasn't really scared because I was sitting outside. I was, I don't know, 25 feet from the bomb shelter. I didn't even open the thing. And I didn't bother going in. Chief and Yaffa are very used to these explosions now. They just sit there, they don't pay attention. Because then they're thinking, oh, there's noise, this is scary, but it never hurts anybody, so they didn't care. Mommy, the dog, is another story. The big dogs get scared, so they were with my wife. So anyway, that's what happened, okay? And previous to the attack, in close timing, there was a terrorist attack near Jerusalem, or what could have been in Jerusalem, and some dingaling came out with a gun and started shooting people. He got killed, but it was 8 people dead, I believe, and several wounded. Thank you for the gun control, Netanyahu. So, I don't think Hezbollah did anything during the attack. And I don't think Gaza did anything either. We didn't get anything from Iraq and Syria that I recall either. Okay? Right after the attack, Israel went on bombing strategic targets in Hezbollah, with Hezbollah in Lebanon. And they did it through the night. And this morning, a few hours ago, the geniuses in Hezbollah launched some of their immature Katyushas, and they got a volley to hit the border area, which has been evacuated for many months. So they could accomplish property damage. Iran did not try to hit our tanks and military forces by the Lebanon border. Why? Because their missiles aren't that accurate, and they didn't want to hit Lebanon because the Hezbollah troops are near the border inside Lebanon. The Hezbollah did manage to have a firefight with some of our guys crossing the border into Lebanon. They laid in wait to ambush them. We also were active in Gaza last night. So let me tell you what Jake Sullivan said. I think Jake the Break Sullivan, as I call him, is the security the chief of the security of the United States. He's in the cabinet. Um, he's Blinken's the State Department guy, Austin's defense, and he's security. He said that now this is a complete change of tune, complete with America's verbiage. And they said, Sullivan said, that Iran will have severe consequences for what they did last night. He used the word severe consequences. And he said, and we are working with Jerusalem to bring that about. Now, he didn't say Israel. He didn't say Tel Aviv. He said Jerusalem. Because that's the capital of Israel that the Iranians and the Muslim terrorists hate to hear about. Now, the million-dollar question that we'll start to address momentarily is what will happen. First, I want to tell you, I haven't heard of the USS Truman aircraft carrier strike group showing up in the Middle East yet, but they left Virginia on Monday last week. I don't know, I think they probably slowed them down or something. I don't know. I don't know where they are. They don't tell you. It could be in Cyprus. They could be someplace else. I don't know where they are, but nobody's saying here's where they are. Maybe they're not here yet. That's not going to be a monumental, big deal, but. So America had 2 destroyers off the coast of Israel in the Mediterranean, and they did some takedowns. Jordan did a lot of takedowns. Missiles crossing over Jordan airspace coming into Israel. They're going to try to get rid of that King Abdullah guy in Jordan, I think, post-haste, because they're not happy about that. We were told other countries would do takedowns, but nobody came out and said they did takedowns except Jordan. So Saudi or the UAE may have done takedowns too, or Bahrain or Qatar. I don't know. What we were told is the Saudis abbreviated their attack because the Iranians abbreviated their attack because they were getting feedback that the Iron Domes were taking everything down. It was about 190 missiles. Did they hit any cars? No. Did they hit any apartment houses or private houses? No. Any malls or anything? No. Did they hit our airports? No. Did they take down any planes? No. You know. Much a repeat of the last attack, which is a little bit less in the amount of missiles. So. Iran's got a big mouth. They don't have a lot of delivery. Why did they attack? For several reasons. One is, it was right after we started invading Lebanon. 2, the Houthis after the Israeli attack on their 2 ports were belly aching. Where's Iran? Where's Iran? Hezbollah was belly aching. Where's Iran? Where's Iran? So Iran felt they had to do something. And this is what they did. Now, Netanyahu said that Iran was going to pay a big price for this. Now, what I'm going to do next is something you don't hear the social media channels explain to you. I'm going to explain why Iran didn't attack last night, and I'm also going to go in great detail with you and show you what will and will not be attacked in Iran. Okay? And the timing on this is going to be a matter of days, because if Iran believes, now this is something that people on social media generally don't understand, they don't live in the Middle East. If Iran believes Israel is afraid that there'll be another attack and won't retaliate, Iran will do another attack, and another, and another, and another, and eventually it'll be almost a daily event. Okay? And it will be civilian population centers. And if they manage to disable our military, then they'll just come in and rape us and kill us and burn us alive and throw us in ovens and everything else. So Iran's message was the attack was due to the targeted assassinations we were doing, Nasrallah and the Hamas guy in Tehran. So what can Israel and America do? If we just flew off the handle last night and attacked them, we could have sent 50 or 100 F-35. Well, we don't have that many. We have about 50 F-35s. We could have sent a lot of F-35s and F-15s loaded heavy to knock out their radar and then start bombing stuff. But then Iran was sitting there with their finger on the launch button, waiting to see that. As soon as they saw that coming, they'd keep launching all night long. We didn't want to see that. Okay? This was a case of Iran picked their moves, and the New York Times had good intel. So I wonder if that was leaked on purpose to the New York Times. They said somebody they can't name in the military or I think they said military intelligence told them there would be an attack within 12 hours. And they were right. No. If this was not leaked, what would happen? The FBI, along with military intelligence, or maybe just the special agents of military intelligence, would swarm the New York Times, and they would start picking these people up and taking them to their offices for interrogation, with or without due process. And if they didn't come up with the name of their informant, they would be probably put in a black site. It would be bad for them. Because they have a guy in military intelligence that is leaking vital information, classified, to a periodical, a newspaper, New York Times. Now, he could be doing that for gain or not, but I don't believe such a person really exists. There'd be no such thing as the New York Times not giving up a spy in U.S. military intelligence. They would be charged with conspiracy to commit treason, sedition, dissemination of classified materials illegally, and all this stuff. They wouldn't do it. And it would come out who did it, and they would go after the guy who did it. If he was retired, they'd want to know who told him, and if he wasn't retired, there would be a big scandal. He'd be going on polygraphs, and they'd be looking at all his co-workers. It'd be a real witch hunt. So I don't believe that there was anybody that did this unless they were working for the American or Israeli government. And for some reason, they wanted this made public. Okay? So this was a controlled leak. It was a way to give Israel warning where America would have plausible deniability. No, we never told them. Because we know they told Russia before they did it. And they may have told other countries, some of whom may have told the New York Times and stuff like that. Okay. All right. So what should Netanyahu have done? Gone out last night, sent 30 or 40 F-16s with 3 or 4 refueling tankers over to Iran while Iran's waiting for them. Move! Don't do that! You're in my way! Why don't you move? And Iran doesn't have any decent air defense systems at all that could stop us. They might be under the impression that Russia recently gave them something that's going to work, but they're going to be very disappointed. If Russia had anything, that was good enough, it'd be using it in Ukraine, and the evidence there is rather conclusive. Russia doesn't have anything that really is effective against an F-13, let alone an F-22 Raptor that America has. Our F-35s can dance all over Iran. So we come into Iran, and what do? Blow up their nuclear facilities? Yeah, they're 300, 400, 600 feet underground. It would be a massive job. We'd have to bring, 50 or 100 2,000-pound bombs on F-15s and hit the facilities. We already took their radar out a few months ago. They may have new radar, but we'll just take that out again. But what does that do? Ask yourself. Iran's nuclear plants are gone. Great victory. Now they're launching hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of missiles at us continually. Right? Where does that get us? Doesn't get us very far. See, that's stupid. Now, let's say we blow up their piers and ports, which they use to ship oil out, and that's how they get their money, breaking the sanctions. And we also hit the oil refineries. Could we do that? Yeah. 20, 30 F-35s and refueling tankers could do that in 30 minutes or less from when they arrive in Iran. Like what we did in Yemen, similar to that. And that was a warning. What we did in Yemen, hitting the two ports, was a warning to Iran. And it wasn't a big effort. It would take Iran months or years to recover from that damage. The piers get blown up, the storage tanks for grain, for oil, for natural gas get blown up, the oil and gas pipelines get blown up, the oil tanker ships in the harbor get blown up, if they belong to Iran. It's it's something we're probably going to do. The reason we're going to do it is very much unknown to people because it's going to hurt Iran economically. But you got to listen to me. It's not going to stop Iran from sitting there with the launch buttons going, and raining missiles down on us. Okay? So it's a very good vengeful vendetta, but we need to do more than that. We need to stop them from having the ability to launch missiles at us at a moment's notice. So now comes America. Now this whole thing of hitting Iran goes back to October 7th, which was allowed to happen. Netanyahu was not allowed to go visit Biden, and then sometime in September 2023, Biden says, yeah, Netanyahu could come here anytime. September 23rd, Netanyahu goes to America, comes back. A little over 2 weeks later, October 7th attack happens. All the countermeasures that Israel has normally on the border were not working. We have Bedouins in the army that are trackers, like Apache or Cherokee Indians in the 1700s. And they follow people. I don't think they were there. Our cameras, day and night vision, were working. We had soldiers in the watchtowers by the border watching the sensors detect people walking and the cameras picking them up. And a lot of these soldiers were women and they were never combat trained. They were just watching cameras, sensor reports, maybe using binoculars. So they were calling the people they were supposed to call and report all this crazy activity. And the people were laughing at him and saying, no, that's not the case. So the girls were being laughed at. And there were men soldiers. They wound up getting killed or taken in as hostages. Some are still there. Now, the help time for that kind of a distress phone call would usually be 5 to 8 minutes. Humvees would come with machine guns, armored personnel carriers, helicopters, all kinds of soldiers would start flooding in. They didn't come for 7 or 8 hours. 7 or 8 hours. I was sitting outside in the morning and I heard all these missiles going off all over Israel, mostly in the south. And I thought it was a joke. After about an hour, I realized it wasn't a joke, and it took quite a while until we figured out what was going on social media. And the jets would usually attack in 10, 15, 20 minutes from that type of a provocation. It took better than 3 hours to attack. This was allowed to happen. Many countries and entities were saying they warned Israel. This was allowed to happen. The purpose of this was complicated. First was to get rid of the proxies that could be a serious threat to Israel and other countries in the region. What other countries? Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, Oman, Saudi Arabia, Jordan. That's about it. So they basically used Israel like America uses Ukraine. We became the Ukraine in the Middle East. They don't fight shoulder to shoulder with us. They give us weapons. We're their proxy. And this is getting the Lord infuriated, believe me. So we start fighting Gaza. Biden doesn't want to see Israel get a victory in Gaza. His whole purpose here is to suck Iran into a war with America because they know about BRICS. And they know that Iran is terrorizing Saudi Arabia through Yemen and otherwise, and the UAE. And they want them to not sell oil and gas in dollars or euros, which Saudi Arabia already agreed to. So once they agree to stop taking dollars and euros, the next thing they do is Iran says, cut your production 10% this month. Next month, another 10, another 10. By the time you cut production 30%, 40%, you'll be paying in America, you might be paying as much as $10 or $15 a gallon. Many people can't go to work. It'll cause everything you buy in the stores to go up in value because it's transported by a truck. Everything transported by ship is going to go up in value because of the price of fuel. It's going to go up, the prices will go up. And the same things that are trucked, flown, or by ship, they're all going to go up in price. Home heating oil is going to go up in price. People will be walking around with down jackets and gloves in their house. So, Iran had to be stopped for that reason. The next reason Iran had to be stopped is BRICS. and their digital currency, which is supposed to be introduced October 22nd at the next BRICS summit in Russia, October 22 to the 24th. 159 nations have asked to join this digital currency system. They don't want to anymore report to America about their banking activities. This BRICS currency, they're going to call it BRICS Pay, is a blockchain like Bitcoin. And they're going to back it by a basket of merchandise. So you have to pledge, let's say, $100 million worth of stuff you have, like oil, natural gas, food, I don't know. You pledge these assets to BRICS, they come up with a valuation price, and they issue so many BRICS dollar units of the rat race. So, in BRICS, there's there's really three sellers of oil, but the big ones are Russia and Iran, both under heavy sanctions, which they plan on violating this way. They plan on trading freely all the oil they can, getting paid in digital currency, which is sanction free, and using the digital currency to buy things from the other BRIC members, like food or whatever. And they're going to allow for a basket of commodities to secure your BRICS dollars with. So people can put wheat, rice, pork bellies, orange juice pulp, whatever they come up with. And of course, some will put up gold and maybe even silver. So America had to get rid of Iran and Russia. And you're seeing Russia get eliminated by the Ukraine proxy, and Iran getting eliminated via the Israeli proxy. Now, the BRICS has big players in it. Russia and Iran are monsters when it comes to selling oil and natural gas. If they're not able to do that, BRICS is going to fall apart. Now, there's going to be a certain amount of people that are going to want to trade bananas and tomatoes, but that's got nowhere near the Solomon markings for, Solomon Brothers. Anyway, it's vital for the future of America to stop Iran and Russia from doing BRICS. Iran is going to be dealt with, I believe, before October 22nd, and Russia is already being dealt with most severely. If 159 countries join BRICS and start using the BRIC currency to pay for oil and natural gas, which would not be in US dollars, the demand for the dollar is going to start going down, 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 down. That will bring on inflation and a very painful lifestyle in the US. And it's something that they got to end it, or they're going to get ended economically. So Russia and China and Iran and North Korea and Venezuela and Cuba and Belarus, and they're trying to put sanctions on America. And America's not going to be part of that. And that's why you see Jake the Brake Sullivan talking very strongly about Iran. Is he just saying it and doesn't mean it? I will tell you what happens. If he says it and he doesn't mean it, there's going to be more Iranian attacks, but on his bases in Iraq and Syria and other places. If he doesn't follow through, Iran will interpret America as afraid to do anything. They might blame it on the election year. And I say, we got America where we want her. Let's step up the attacks and let's really get, finish off this problem. Okay. So let me continue. Let me look in the live stream, see if we're getting any questions or comments I need to respond to, and I will. Iran has the right to defend itself. Oh, Iran, go ahead. Nobody was attacking Iran. They attacked us. No, I was not praying while the ballistic missiles were attacked. I think I prayed before. That was about it. What's the point of having... We did use the Iron Dome. Have you not been listening? When they say that so much... First of all, Iran didn't say 50% hit. They said at one time 80% and another time 90% hit. If you think Iran could get hits at this distance 80%, 90% of the time, I have a bridge that connects New York to London that I could sell you. Ezekiel 11 is nice to read. Israel regarding the Assyrians and the highway to Egypt. It'll come. Not today. Some guy's making fun of me. Well, I'm not a tranny. I transvestigated myself. Gaza will be free, yeah, when it's Israel. You're still waiting what I'm going to show. Well, I'm doing it. Judea belongs to Rome. That's funny. Guys, it helps if you hit the subscribe button and you do the like. It helps me with YouTube. It's free. Takes you 2 seconds to do that. Okay. So this whole thing is they had to get rid of Gaza, but they didn't want Israel to fulfill prophecy and take the land back. They had to get rid of Hezbollah because they don't want, when the attack on Iran comes, they don't want them obliterating Israel. They want Israel to stay in the hands of those that are serving the gods of the dead and be a greater country at the same time. It's some delusional thing they have got, okay? So it's never going to happen. All right, so Hezbollah has been dismantled rather nicely, but it's still going to take more days, okay? We're attacking them day and night. We're hitting places where there are missiles. We're hitting depots, command centers, bases, targeted assassinations, everything. It takes time, but it's wearing them out. They did practically nothing last night during the attack from Iran. They didn't join in. They didn't have what to join in with. So if we attack the nuclear facilities, Iran still attacks us back. Does it punish Iran? Yeah. If we hit their oil and gas and their ports and their piers, like Israel did at Yemen 3 times. A few days ago, they hit 2 ports, and a while ago, 1 port. If we do that and their oil refineries, does that put Iran out of business and they don't have money to continue with the proxies and they cave in and a revolution happens, maybe in Iran, according to America and stuff like that? Yeah, it really hurts Iran, but can they still hit the launch button? Yes. So what do we really think will happen? What do I think? I don't know if Biden's going to be so high on destroying the oil and gas in Iran because that will spike oil prices up badly. I would say at least 15%. Now, let's take a look and see what oil is selling at now, okay? And then we'll do gold and silver. I think I could get it from this site. A lot of these sites are just misleading you. Yeah, oil is not so bad. It's 71.52. Not bad at all. Let's take a look at gold and silver. Nope. Gold's hanging in there, 26.54. Silver's hanging in there, 31.43. It hasn't really moved substantially, but it will. Oh yeah. Oh, don't worry about it. So Israel has to disable the missile launching capabilities of Iran substantially. And then what will probably happen is the nuclear facilities will be taken out because America is using that for an alibi. Iran's a nuclear threat. You know, for years we've been hearing any day now Iran's going to have nukes. Did they ever get it? No. We've been hearing it for what? 5 years, 10 years? It's nonsense. So that's their alibi. Okay? Iran's, a bad actor in the Middle East is stirring everything up, and we cannot allow them to continue like this. We got to stop their nuclear capability. Now, America has bunker buster bombs that go up to 30,000 pounds. So I imagine one or two of those will take out a facility. Okay. At the same time, we're going to have to disable Iran's launch capability. Now, Iran twice since the attack last night said they told America not to interfere with their launching. They used the word warned. We warned America. So you could bet your bottom dollar they're going to attack American bases minimally in Syria and Iraq. Minimally. And they may hit some of the friends of America like Saudi, Oman, Jordan, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, and things like that. Probably a lot of the destroying of Iran is going to come from American warships and planes. And if Iran tries to deploy what I jokingly would call their navy, they're going to lose a lot of what I jokingly refer to as their navy. It's a fairly pathetic navy. They're going to lose it. Okay? So Israel needs help to take the Iran missile launches and missiles out. Israel has a little over 300 fighter jets. We can't take 300 fighter jets and send them over to Iran. We could move, I'd say perhaps a stretch, 100. And then we would probably need quite a few refueling tankers to handle 100 fighter jets. Maybe you could do it on 10. And Israel maybe has 10. That'd be about it. And the way the game is played is the F-35s go in and blow the radar up, opening up corridors, and then the F-15s and 16s, mostly F-15s, come in with heavy payloads and start damaging what we want to damage. But as soon as we do that, they're going to start launching at us. So if the UK and America and probably at least another 2 or 3 countries get in on it, then it could be a swarm of perhaps 300 jets coming in after the radar's blown out. The F-22 Raptors could do just a capital job of that. And then they got enough horsepower to hit a lot of missile bases, and it'd be backed up by American warships hitting these bases as well with missiles. So the idea is to strip Iran's missile launching capability, missile warehouses, missile production facilities. Now, I want to give you another motive for America and NATO. Iran a while ago gave thousands of drones to Russia, which he's using against Ukraine, and now they're Iran's giving them missiles, and North Korea is also giving them missiles, but they're not dealing with North Korea at this point in time. So every time Iran bolsters Russia with more missiles and drones, it makes the NATO countries have to put more billions of dollars into Ukraine. And they're tired of that. Okay? So they don't want to keep doing it. So by cutting the head off the snake of Iran, it stops them from having to put anywhere near the same amount of money in as they have been in the last 2 years, because then Russia is running down on their own weapons, and they're nervous about that because they're under dire threat from NATO. They can't get caught without a lot of weapons. The investment in NATO countries is not a bad one by investing in Ukraine, because the plan is to use Ukraine to weaken Russia and then take Russia out and divide it up. And then the guys dumping the big money into Ukraine, like Germany and UK, America, they're going to get a piece of Russia. So Russia would be divided, not unlike Germany being divided in World War II. It was just a two. They just split it in two. Here, I think they'd probably split it in something like 4 or 5, maybe. So they'll get Russia's natural resources. The people of Russia will not suffer. Russia would be put. Now, this I don't think is going to happen. This is their dreams, but this is what they're operating on. Russia would be put on a Federal Reserve system with fiat money, and all the American businesses would open up there that are not already there. Banking would open up, wire transfers would open up. They would have a nice situation over there. Okay? They would get plenty of food. They would be free, at least as free as they were under Putin, probably the same or better. Better medical. They'd set up a social security. All the junk would work that way. But it's not going to go that way. What you're going to see is the destruction of these countries. You're going to see Europe, NATO, and Russia destroy each other. Now, we have to take this further. I want to tell you that the job of dismantling the major missile launching sites that Iran has is massive. Now, please understand this. You can have 11 million missiles, but how many missile launches do you have? That's the key. Just having missiles sitting in a warehouse, what are you going to do? Pick them up and throw them? You need launchers. And we don't know how many launchers, Iran has, but it's substantial, but it's not that substantial. See, Iran is basically a bunch of dumbbells, okay? They don't have an air force to speak of. They don't have a navy to speak of. All they got is missiles. Which means you can only attack countries nearby, and countries nearby that have navies, that are not nearby, that have navies and air forces, can attack Iran. So Iran is not the brightest light in the harbor. Iran is banking on Russia and China coming to help them. Now we need to talk about that. Russia would undoubtedly send more weapons to Iran if they got attacked, okay? But that means nothing. It means nothing. This stuff could be attacked at the airport and warehouses, whatever. It doesn't mean anything. Is Russia going to send troops over there? What good is the troops going to do? Because I tell you the truth, nobody's doing a ground invasion in Iran. I don't see it. It would require over 1 million troops. It would probably require at least 3,000 to 5,000 tanks, thousands of Humvees, personnel carriers, probably 300, 400, 500 helicopters, probably 800, 900 fighter jets. You'd have to put at least 4, if not 5 aircraft carriers over there. It would be a mess. And what would the time frame on something like that be? Oh, minimum 6 months. It's rough terrain. They got a lot of mountainous regions. They got places to hide artillery to stop an invasion. No. Nobody's ground invading Iran. They put about 1 million soldiers into Iraq, and they had, I think, 6 aircraft carriers over there or something like that. And Iraq had the fighting capability, perhaps 20-25% of what Iran has. So 1 million troops might not even cut it. You might need 2 million. Nobody's going to do it. They don't know what China's going to do in the Asia Pacific theater. That ain't happening. But air attacks are what's going to happen. Missile and aircraft. That can happen. So, how can Russia help Iran? Easy. Russia would have to send something in the order of 15 to 30 warships over to the Persian Gulf to help Iran by firing at American Israeli jets, which wouldn't work against stealth jets, so that would fail. And what else are they going to do? That's about it. So I don't think Russia is going to do that. They could, I don't think they will. Would Russia move aircraft over to Iran? Well, he would probably, to do any good, minimally need 100 aircraft. Reality setting in probably 150. It would take a monumental amount of aircraft, for Russia to do anything. And then what would Russia do? Launch their fighter jets and start doing dogfights in the sky without stealth jets that they can't find? So we could say, oh, Russia's going to do something. What the heck is Russia going to do? They're surrounded on all sides by NATO. They're scared. What are they going to do? Maybe send equipment over to Iran, and that's about it. Now, let's push this harder. Russia knows if they don't help Iran, Iran is doomed. And that severely impacts BRICS. So maybe they decide to help. Maybe they do send a couple of hundred planes over there and they start attacking American warships for attacking Iran. I don't know. If Russia doesn't attack Iran, BRICS is going to fall apart. If Russia helps Iran, China has to help Russia. Look, Iran is gone. Now Russia sees themselves as low-hanging fruit, and NATO is going to just start by pushing Russia out of Ukraine, which is child's play. And then the area of land that they already have seized in Russia, which is 130 square kilometers, is going to expand probably threefold, fourfold, fivefold, and keep getting bigger. And they'll keep grabbing pieces of Russia, and then Russia will decide to fight at some point in time and get severely damaged. So if Iran goes, then Russia goes, then China goes. China goes, North Korea goes. And that's what America wants to do, is pick them off one at a time. What America cannot do is have a fight in the Asia Pacific theater with North Korea attacking South Korea, China attacking Taiwan, Japan getting in the fight, Philippines getting affected, Guam getting affected, and America can handle that by itself. But if it's in the middle of a war with Russia and the middle of a war in the Middle East, America cannot handle it. And that would be the best path for China and Russia to take, and Iran and North Korea. And they may very well do it. And what these sites are not telling you is, what about the sleeper agents that are on land that China bought next door to American bases? What about them? Are they just going to sit still and look pretty, or are they going to go to work? They'll go to work. So China would send a large amount of ships and planes to the Middle East. And Russia would send a large amount of ships and planes to the Middle East. So together, maybe China and Russia would muster up 40 or so ships and maybe 100 or 200 aircraft. And then the idea would be to attack the American bases in the area, or if they attack Iran, and see what America wants to do. And all you're going to see now is destruction, death and destruction. That's all you're going to get out of this. There's not going to be a lot of people out there making sense. You're just going to see them destroy each other and fulfill Jeremiah 30, verse 11, which I will read to you, which is the churches never read this to you. Imagine going to church on a Sunday and this is what they read. For I am with thee, saith Jehovah, to save thee, though I make a full end of all the heathen nations whither I have scattered thee. When has Jehovah ever made a full end of all the heathen nations he scattered Israel to? Never. Never happened in the past. But when it happens, it's redemption time for Israel. This is the day of vengeance, because he's saying all the nations he scattered Israel to. So that means there's no more scattering of Israel to the nations. It's over, kaput, finished. That's the day of vengeance. That's the beginning of the year of redemption. Right now we're in the year of recompenses. And Hezbollah's been recompensed, Gaza's been recompensed, and you will in the coming days see Iran getting recompensed. Them killing one person from 190 missiles who happened to be a Muslim is God mocking Iran. Do you think it's normal that 190 missiles come in and one guy gets killed? Do you think Israel's hiding it? We're a small country. You can't hide this stuff. Everybody would know about it. It'd be all over social media. People would be talking. You can't hide it in Israel. It's not America. Okay? There's about 6.5 million Jews, and they talk. It wouldn't work. Everybody's got a kid, a neighbor, a nephew, a niece, in the military. Everybody knows people in the military. You can't cover this stuff up. Okay? You can't. There's millions of people that knew what happened on October 7th and how extraordinarily crazy it would be for it to just have happened. It was allowed to happen. Right now, Netanyahu is probably about as popular as Elvis Presley, Tom Jones, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones combined in their day. And America's changing their tune towards Iran. So Israel just kept up the pounding of Hezbollah because it's in a hurry. Israel knows the attack on Iran is getting very close, and they've got to stop the capabilities of Hezbollah quickly, because when Iran starts getting clobbered, they're going to tell Hezbollah, throw the kitchen sink at Israel. So we got to make sure that the kitchen sink is perhaps a small washcloth. Nothing. That's why we're working on them day and night. The Houthis is another problem. The Houthis don't have any serious capability to do much to us. They don't have an air force or a navy to speak of. So they have some long range missiles, which we generally take down. And it doesn't look likely they're going to build an army and march up here right now. So let's say that I'm right and Iran gets disabled. Mind you, this is when you read about the destruction of Iran in Jeremiah 49, the last few verses, it uses the term Elam, E-L-A-M. Elam in those days was comprised of parts of Iran, Iraq, and Syria. So is it hard for you to believe that Iran, Iraq, and Syria get beaten by their enemies in the plural, it says in Jeremiah 49, so badly that the people have to leave the country and go live in all the countries of the world. It says they'll populate all the nations of the earth. Okay? And the sword will hunt them down. They'll be running from the sword. This is basically another reap what you sow. They don't teach you this. Why shouldn't they? I do. It's right in your Bible. You want to be surprised? Which of these church goofs, the ones that are churchianity oriented, are now teaching the daughter of Babylon's America? Some actually teach it, believe it or not. I don't think any pastor in a denominational church is allowed to teach it. He'd be out on his ear if he did. But it's the truth. This first started coming out around the year 2008. And it got real popular in around like 2012, 13, 14. It got really kicked around a lot. And it is the daughter of Babylon. I've done many videos on it. So have many other people done videos on it. So if we get rid of Iran, what are we going to do with Gaza? Well, I think there'll be a different solution for Gaza all of a sudden. What'll that be? Well, we'll have our little 1 kilometer buffer zone, something like that, in no man's land. Whereas if they cross that, they may find landmines or getting sniper bullets or something like that. I don't know what we're going to do with Hamas down there. I don't believe man is going to have enough time to take care of this, because God will, and their future is very dim. But Israel's going to have a period of peace. The Houthis, what are they going to do? They can't do much now. When Iran's gone, what are they going to do? When Russia's all busted up, I don't know what they're going to do. It's Edom. Edom gets destroyed. So maybe Israel will finish it off, and America has a big axe to grind with Yemen. So does the UK. So do many other nations. They might go down there and just drop 700 or 800 bombs. That would be about it. Wouldn't be a lot left. Because they would hit infrastructure. But we don't read about the people of Edom going and, going into exile in the other country. It appears they go down for the count. Again, Jeremiah 49. Jordan will turn on us, I don't know when. So will Egypt, so will Turkey. That's your Bible prophecies. So, what I think we're going to do is it's going to introduce Malachi 3, where we see Elijah there, we see a temple there. I don't think God's going to put the temple there while the missiles are coming in. Why? I don't think Elijah's going to be there, obviously, by the temple, training the Levites to make the offerings acceptable to the Lord in Malachi 3 if the missiles are coming in. So, I don't see it. I think Elijah training the Levites to make the offerings acceptable and pleasant unto the Lord will bring in the blessings of the law, which will bring in the day of vengeance, and that will fall into the year of redemption, and that's when we're going to take the land back. So the Hamas rules and the Palestinians will stay in Gaza, but if they don't convert, they're going to be gone. And a lot of Lebanon is going to be busted up, but I think some of it will be left for us because it says we use the various trees from Lebanon to decorate the temple. That would be maybe inside and outside. Edom is a wipeout. Saudi Arabia will be around but busted up. Jordan will be rather well devastated, except the northern part of Moan. They make friends with Israel and they do pretty good. Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, I don't think they're going to fare so well. Neither will Oman. So to focus on the immediate days, what are we going to see? We're going to see more attacks on Lebanon day and night from Israel. America and Israel probably have a rough draft of what they want to do to Iran, and they're going to be talking on implementation and drawing other countries in to join in. Remember, Iran said if you help Israel with takedowns of our weapons, we're going to treat you as an enemy. So minimally, they're going to treat Jordan as an enemy and America as an enemy. See, Iran is delusional. They're like psychotic serial killers in a mental hospital. They're nuts. You got to understand, crazy people are dangerous, but they're not that dangerous. Now I need to see what's cooking in the live stream. And gold is doing well. It hasn't surged yet, but it's going. I'm reading the comments now. Oh yeah, Israel will take over Lebanon and Turkey. The storm is here. That's well said. You're at World War III right now. It's at the doors.
Nice. Good job.
No, I'm okay with the chat. I don't have any unanswered questions. One more time, please hit the like button and subscribe. So this is where we're at right now. The attack on Iran has to be devastating to cripple their ability to launch at us, because anything we do, the retaliation will be a launch, maybe not just at Israel, but at the American bases in Syria and Iraq, possibly at American warships, and possibly other countries that America is protecting, like Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, Oman, all these, Saudi Arabia, Jordan. It could hit any and all of these. So it needs to be a rather serious, very well thought out plan to knock out the missile launchers. Now, if they knock out the electric infrastructure, is that going to help? I think Iran is sophisticated enough to have electric generators near or around the missile launch sites, but that may not be the case, but it probably is. I myself don't know how they're going to do it. Okay? Remember the blowing up of the pagers and the walkie-talkies and the phones and the fingerprint scanners in Hezbollah? Well, that might work against Iran. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I'll tell you, they've been talking about it for years. And this is the moment. They riled Israel up on October 7th, got Israel to deactivate Gaza. Now Hezbollah, we've attacked substantially Yemen. We are, like Ukraine, a puppet state to America. And now they know they got to knock out Iran, and they know that that's a little bit too big for Israel to take on by itself. They're not idiots. So they know they got to get in. So it's time to enter the war against Iran. And that's why you're hearing the dialogue from them. It's not, we'll help Israel defensively if we need to. We caution you to urge you to use restraint. No. That's the view from here. Do I see Iran just starting more attacks against Israel? I give it a low probability for the next 2 weeks. If Israel doesn't do something to respond quickly, maybe even a week. I'd say Israel has about a week to respond before Iran starts thinking they scared Israel, and then they'll do more attacks and more attacks and more attacks. See, the approach of these terrorist states is Iran's proxies, the Shiite Muslim states that are terrorist oriented, is similar to World War II. Okay, Hitler and Mussolini were facing the Allies. They weren't facing just America. It was America, UK, many countries. Canada was in there, Australia was in there. There's quite a few countries that are called the Allies. So we have an axis of evil in the Middle East, which is Iran, Yemen, Iraq, Syria, Gaza, and Lebanon. That's the axis of evil coming at us. Do you see that? You should. Okay? So we got about a week to attack them. And I know they're going to use the nuclear facilities as an alibi to do it. We can't wait too long. America's ready. Troops, the last 10 days, thousands of troops have been moved into the Middle East, and even more aircraft. So America is loaded with aircraft in the Middle East now. And they're going to do it. I have a strong feeling that they're going to hurt the Iranian Navy, what if you really want to call it a Navy, their fishing fleet, that they call a Navy. It's going to get hurt. Because they don't want Iran interdicting any shipping. And they eventually, Yemen has to stop interdicting the shipping, or Yemen's going to stop. But they might think it's more important to cut the head off the snake right now, because Yemen is sufficiently deactivated. We hardly ever hear of them harming any shipping in the Red Sea anymore. So it's more important to shut Iran down, so there's no more financing and providing weapons to these countries that help Iran, their satellites, the proxies. So I think the priority is to get rid of Iran right now. And you might say sadly, but I would say forget sadly, it's prophecy being fulfilled. They're going to get Russia and China in this fracas. They might not want it, but that's what's going to happen. So the whole thing's going to blow up over this, and that's the way it's going to be because it's Israel. Why are we in the year of recompenses, which the church never teaches you? Isaiah 34, verse 8, I read. For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance and the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion. Its controversy means fighting over Zion. They don't want an Israel. They want Israel gone. They want a Muslim Israel, so to speak, okay? And that's the controversy over Zion with Jehovah. So he's using the nations to kill each other now while he's protecting Israel. That's exactly what's going on. Jeremiah 30, verse 11. Zechariah 12 is Jacob's trouble. Great is Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. That's also in Jeremiah 30. And what the church is not yet teaching, but there's no getting around it, is Zechariah 12, verse 6. In this surrounding siege of Judah and Jerusalem, which is the land we have now, in that day will I make it says governors, it's really judges, the judges of Judah like an earth of fire among the wood, and like a torch of fire in a sheaf, and they shall devour all the people round about, on the right hand and on the left, and Jerusalem shall remain still in her own place, even in Jerusalem. So nothing happens to Jerusalem. That's not saying nothing happens to the Dome of the Rock and the Al-Aqsa Mosque. Don't lose faith on these idiots blowing their own mosque up with their missiles. But, okay, who do you know has fire coming out of their mouth? The two witnesses. He says it twice. Once like an earth of fire among the wood, and the second time like a torch of fire in a sheaf. Now, where do we come off with the judges? Well, judges is how God's going to run Israel again. He used to do it that way. It worked really well. Isaiah 1, what verse? Maybe 27. Verse 24, I think. Isaiah 1:24. Therefore saith Adonai Jehovah of armies, the mighty one of Israel. Okay, that's the God of Israel, right? I will ease me of my adversaries. Well, we know who they are. And avenge me of my enemies. get vengeance, day of vengeance. And I will turn my hand upon thee, and purely purge away the dross, and take away all thy tin. That's a good thing. And where does it say the Lord's furnace is? In Jerusalem. And I will restore thy judges as at the first. Who's that at the first? Moses and Aaron, or prophets and judges, the two witnesses of prophets. To be a judge, you got to be a prophet. They are the judges. They burn the enemies up round about on the right hand and the left when they surround or lay siege to Jerusalem and Judah, the land we have now. So it's before the next great exodus and so forth. And I will restore thy judges as at the first, and thy counselors as at the beginning. Afterward thou shalt be called the city of righteousness, the faithful city. Zion shall be redeemed with judgment, and her converts with righteousness. So there it is. The two witnesses are going to run Israel with the 70 counselors like Moses and Aaron had. The glory of God of Israel will be in the temple like he was with Moses and Aaron and met with them at the mercy seat in the tabernacle. And he killed 150,000 in one day. The two witnesses is Elijah and Apostle John. It can't be Moses because the Bible says it's elected unto man to die only once, and Moses died already. How could it be Moses? Makes no sense. Can't. Okay? Enoch. Well, Enoch's in the Bible, but there's no reason to think it's Enoch, nor Melchizedek. John the Baptist is dead. There's a scripture that says when Yeshua's talking to the apostles, there be some among you that shall not taste of death till they see the kingdom of God. But it doesn't really say some. They twisted it to screw you up. It really should be read someone. Okay? And that would be Apostle John, the beloved. And he didn't operate like the other apostles. He had the prophecies. He wrote the book of Revelation. You know, his gospel wasn't like the gospels, the other gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. It was different. You could tell when you read it. He was different. He was down from heaven, one of the two witnesses, like Elijah. So who's going to be fighting for your side if you're a true believer? Let's see. We've got the glory of God of Israel, which is Michael, the great angel, who God put his name Jehovah in Exodus 23, verse 20, I believe. You'll have Elijah. You'll have Apostle John. You'll have an anointed prince in the temple from the line of David. Just read Ezekiel 45. It's right in there. There'll be a temple. We'll have the blessings of the law. It's going to be great. And then after the fighting is over and we got all this land back, then all the true believers will be making their way over here because of the sign of the Son of Man in the clouds. When you see him, even though you're not in Israel, if you're a true believer, you'll have everlasting life and work your way over to Israel. Now, everlasting life is not immortality. Just means you'll live a very long time. So, this is what's going on. Are you going to be affected? Yeah. Unless you live in one of the countries where God never scattered the Israelites to. I don't know where that is. They've been scattered in everywhere in North, South, Central America, the Caribbean, Europe. Not all of Africa, not all of the Middle East, I suppose, or maybe all of you. I don't know. Parts of Asia, I don't know. I've looked and tried to research it. It's near impossible to figure that out. It's not impossible, but I can't find any way to do it that would be reliable. So all the true believers will come to Israel when redemption starts. and you become like the Israelites. You become an Israelite. That's why Yeshua calls you his brethren. I will read you the scripture. Ezekiel 47, verse, let me get there, 21. This is after Elijah and Apostle John burn all the enemies up on the right hand and the left. And so shall you divide this land unto you according to the tribes of Israel. Well, the 10 tribes got to be back here for that, of course. And it shall come to pass that you shall divide it by lot, for an inheritance unto you and to the strangers that sojourn among you. That would be you guys, which shall beget children that are non-Israelites, and you shall beget children among you. They shall beget children among you, and they shall be unto you as born in the country among the children of Israel. So they will be treated as native-born Israelites because of faith in Yeshua. They shall have inheritance with you among the tribes of Israel. So you get a free piece of land, no mortgage, no down payment, nothing. Probably get a house too if there's houses on it. And it shall come to pass that in what tribe the stranger sojourneth, there shall you give him his inheritance, saith Adonai Yehovah. So the tribe you come over with will be your tribe. And this makes perfect sense because what the church never teaches you is about the New Jerusalem in Revelation 21. I'll teach it to you, or really show it to you, because they won't. This is describing New Jerusalem, Revelation 21:12. And had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. So you've got 4 walls, you've got 3 gates on each wall. The gates are made out of a giant pearl, and they're guarded by an angel. And the gates are named after the 12 tribes of Israel. So there'll be Naphtali, Asher, Judah, and you go through the gate according to your tribe. What there's not going to be is a Baptist gate, a Presbyterian gate, a Catholic gate, a Pentecostal gate, Okay? So if you're not incorporated into Israel, you're not part of all of Israel shall be saved, are you? And you wouldn't be able to go into New Jerusalem to spend the millennium there. Did I make my point? And this is, again, not taught by the church. So those of you that have supported this work, it is beginning to pay off because the false teachers are admitting Zechariah 12. They don't want to, but they are. Because people are listening to it here because there's been nobody else teaching this all these years. And they're going back and asking them questions, and these people are redefining their narrative of false prophecy. They'll never reveal the truth, but it's going to cause a lot of people to read Zechariah 12, and they'll see the 2 witnesses in verse 6. They'll see they look upon the one whom they have pierced, and they receive everlasting life in Zechariah 12:10. And they see the Lord pour his Spirit out on the people that, in Zechariah 12:10 pours Spirit out on the inhabitants of Jerusalem and the house of David, so they become believers. Then they look upon the one whom they have pierced, which is Yeshua, appearing in the clouds. Okay, where does it say that? Lots of places. I'll give you a couple. Matthew 24:30. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. That's Zechariah 12. After they see him, they mourn. And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And what happens at that time? Well, you go to Revelation 1:7. I'm just giving you a crash course on this. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him. So everybody's going to see him. And they also which pierced him, that's the Jews, and all kindreds, all tribes of the land, it says earth, it's the land, shall wail because of him. That's Zechariah 12. Even so, amen. And that's when they get everlasting life. Where does it say that? John 6:40. They never teach you this either, do they? John 6:40. And this is the will of him that sent me, that everyone which seeth the Son and believeth on him may have everlasting life, and I'll raise him at the last day. Okay, what happens in Zechariah 12:10? This is not rocket science to do this. The reason they're not doing it is they don't want you to know. And I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and of supplication. So now these people are believers, right? The Spirit's poured out on them. And they shall look upon me whom they have pierced, and they shall mourn for him as one mourneth for his only son. Well, it says for his only. And shall be in bitterness for him as one that is in bitterness for his firstborn. So they're mourning him. And they see Yeshua. And they get changed. They get everlasting life. As you, if you're a true believer in Italy or France or Japan, will also see him, and the same thing will happen. How can you see him at the same time? Well, remember in Revelation, the angels standing on the four corners of the earth. Remember, Scripture says the earth shall not be moved. How do you have four corners on a circular sphere? You don't. How do you go north on a circular sphere? Because eventually you'd be going south. How do you go east on a circular sphere? Because you'd eventually be going west. That's the answer. Flat. Now, there's another scripture, 1 John 3:2. I like John. Beloved, now are we the sons of God, and it doth not yet appear what we shall be, but we know that when he shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. You shall be like him. Was Yeshua glowing? Yeah. After resurrection, I believe he was. Isaiah 60 verse 1. Arise, shine. That means emanate forth light, rays of light. Arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord. That's Michael, the glory of the God of Israel. The glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. Go to Malachi 3. 4, rather. Go to Malachi 4. For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, and all that do wicked shall be stubble, and the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith Jehovah of armies. It could be the enemies, it could be the bad shepherds in Israel. It shall leave them neither root nor branch. I think it's the bad ones in Israel. But unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness, that's a play on words, sun is Shemesh, means the sun, like in the sky, of Tzedek, of righteousness, shall arise with healing in his extremities. The extremities is the outer border of the garment where the tassels or the tzitzit are, like the woman with the issue of blood for 12 years, grabbed it and got healed. So they knew that the Yeshua walking around on earth then was the same one here. Rise with healing in his extremities, and you shall go forth and frolic about like calves of the stall, because you're going to have everlasting life, which is not that you can't get killed. It's like, my people's days shall be like that of a tree. Trees live thousands of years. Like pre-flood, they lived 900 something years, right? But you'll live longer than that. And a child shall die 100. See, that's what these scriptures pertain to. And you'll have a heart of flesh, and I'll put the law in your inward parts. And they shall all know me, from the least to the greatest. That's Jeremiah 31. That's all going to happen. And one day, on the day of vengeance, which is the close of recompenses, the beginning of redemption. And that's the day and hour nobody knows about. And you shall tread down the wicked, for they shall be ashes under the soles of your feet in the day that I shall do this, saith Jehovah of hosts. You get this in Malachi 3 also. So I gave you a good crash course on what's really going on. And if you want to be a partaker and get the rewards in this work of helping other people work, send offerings in. Set the people free. Okay, let's see what's cooking up in the chat. Remember, I'm reading this stuff right out of the scripture to you. What is my opinion on Jephthah? I don't have any idea what Jephthah is. South Korea, okay. All right, guys. So I'm burned out. I hope you got something out about that, got something from it. And I suggest you subscribe and please hit the like button. Let's see how I did today. Slightly over 2 hours, not bad. So I'm Moshe. Please pray for me and my wife for a peace, safety, protection, joy, and healing. And pray for our finances, and that our animals, which are all rescues, and birds, be happy, healthy, and whole. Please pray for Beulah, that she would not have pain and be healed with her broken teeth that Hezbollah scared her so bad. Let me see if I have any prayer requests I didn't tend to. I do. Prayer request for CM Charlie Mike. Prayer request for CM Charlie Mike, that this person passes the driver's test and becomes a good driver. Prayer request for HR Hotel Romeo. HR Hotel Romeo. Pray that does good on a job interview and gets this job. HR Hotel Romeo, pray does good on a coming job interview and gets the job that this person wants. So this about knocked me out today, and please pray for better videos, pray for the peace of Jerusalem, and I send my shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach, and I'm out. Thanks.